raise your prices in your spiritual business. So spiritual entrepreneurs, take note. Now, this is a follow-up from the last video, which is all about reliable income. So I think it's a pretty good follow-up. Let's dive into it. So let's talk about raising the price in your business. We're talking about raising the price for your program or services, whatever your offering is. And the first thing we really need to look at is the role of money in your business. It's item number one, right? So what is this thing about money? Well, you likely know that money is all about the exchange of energy, right? We used to have something called the barter system, and there's some folks in my family who would really like to go back to that barter system. You know, the barter system, I do something for you, you give me a chicken, I trade that chicken with someone else when they do something for me, and we just go around like that. No need for this money. But unfortunately, that's not what we went to. We went to money because it works well for that exchange of energy, because you know what? I may not need a chicken, and I may not know someone else who needs a chicken, right? So we went to money, and money can be different things in different places. So whether they're shells or beads, gold or whatever, these were all things that we used for money, right? It's just an energy exchange. Money is not good. Money is not evil. It just is, like electricity. It's a form of energy, right? It just demarcates that energy exchange between you and another person. And I really invite you, as you're thinking of raising your prices, I really invite you to depersonalize it in this way. Now, there's a whole lot of stuff out there on the internet about money and making money your friend, and it's not that I'm saying not to make money your friend or come to terms with whatever your money personality is. I mean, this is something I work with my clients through. But in this instance, I'm asking you to depersonalize it by looking at it this way. You know, when I go on vacation, you've probably gone on vacation too in another country, and you get their currency, and it kind of feels like monopoly money, like it's not real, right? We're not attached to that money in the same way we're attached to our own money. So when I'm asking you to depersonalize it, I'm asking you to depersonalize it in that way. We have all sorts of fears and troubles and longings wrapped up in whatever currency that we're used to dealing in. And yet when we go to another country, none of that happens, right? We're not so attached. We're not losing our minds over it. So that's why I'm inviting you to this depersonalization that happens in accordance when you go to another country. It's just, you don't mind handing out whatever it is, a euro, a pound, a sterling, whatever it is to another person in another country, and you don't think anything of it. But yet, for me, I'm in the U.S., when, you know, I'm handing over that dollar, I'm like, this is my dollar, right? Don't be like that, right? Understand that depersonalizing it just as if you want to give money and free flow and the exchange of currency in society with a lot of love, with a lot of gratitude, just like excited you have the dollar to give to someone else to make their life wonderful too. That's the exchange of energy. That's the exchange of money. And when it comes back to you, you've got to be excited for it coming back to you, right? We don't want to make money stagnant, right? But I think that's for a whole nother video. Now, of course, we want the money to support our lifestyle. There's no sense being a spiritual entrepreneur and not being able to make your ends meet, is there? No, right? We all have a lifestyle that we need supported so that we can do our best work. Therefore, we need to go through this energy exchange, not just trading. I don't know, I think most of my clients are done with trading, but if you're in that mode of trading services, stop. Because that's not giving the kind of energy that you want exchanged in there, right? Make sure that you are actually exchanging money. Money. All right, so I know a couple of videos videos ago, I talked about charity. And finally, I'm rolling back to it. When you are in exchange, that beautiful energy exchange with money, you will find that you're able to give back. You'll be able to give from overflow and not like, should I give to this charity or should I eat today? Like, that shouldn't be the question. You want to give from overflow. And when you're in right energetic exchange with money, you will be able to do that in your business. And that's just another reason to raise your prices so you can bless other people with your surplus, right? And all of this goes along with really changing the economic paradigm, which is one of the things I really feel as spiritual entrepreneurs, light workers, healers, this is what we're here to do, is to shift the economic paradigm for the good, right? So I want you to think about how you can take a stronger stance with that today. Now, of course, I said we're going to talk about raising those prices. So really, the first question I'm going to ask you is it time to raise your prices? Is this the right time? Now, there's several factors involved. I'm going to go through them so you can kind of make some mental notes, or even better, write it down so you know if this is the time to raise your prices. So the first thing I'm going to ask you is, do you get reliable results with your clients? So it doesn't matter if this is a DIY course, this is coaching that you're doing, this is healing work you're doing, or whatever it is. Do you get reliable, consistent results with your clients? The next question is, do you provide your clients with an experience, right? So whatever that experience is, you know, when you're bringing them into your world, when they see you out in the world, they come in, they start working with you, and they have this beautiful experience until they journey back out of your world and on to the next thing. Do you have all of that really mapped out so that nothing falls through the cracks? That's huge. You want to give your clients this really wonderful experience where they never even have a doubt of, why am I paying this person, right? If you're giving them results and you give them a wonderful experience, they are not only happy to pay you, whatever it is, they're happy to recommend you to other people, which is really what you want to have happen. Word of mouth is such a great way to get new clients. All right, so are you really amping up your unique value, right? Sometimes when you start out, you're kind of plain Jane, you're doing what everyone else is doing because you feel like if I kind of do what everyone else does, I'll get some clients. But slowly and surely you start realizing that secret sauce that you bring to the table, what you can do that no one else does, or what you do in such a unique way, you're essentially making your own lane. Are you really amping up your unique value? And then last but certainly not least, and I see this a lot with my clients, I had this happen to myself. Just discounting all the experience and education that you have that got you to this point where you can be of such massive service to your clients, right? I'm not the person that brags about all the degrees I have or all the certifications that I have. I'm not that person. It's not that it's not on my website. It is, but you don't constantly hear me talking about it. And it's like, I want to feel more relatable to my clients than maybe all my years in education demonstrate. I want to be relatable, but sometimes people want to understand that you have the chops behind you. You do have that education. You do have that experience in industry or whatever it is. So make sure to take that into account when you do your prices. I think it was Picasso that he was doodling one day in a cafe. Someone recognized him and they said, "Ooh, can I have that doodle you just did?" He's like, "Sure, that'll be, whatever amount of money, $2,000, whatever." And they're like, "What? You drew that in just 5 minutes?" He's like, "No, actually it took me 20 years to draw this thing," right? He was looking at all the experience that he had that allowed him to whip out that doodle so fast, right? So think about all that experience, all that education, all the things that have happened to bring you to this point, again, where you can be such a massive value to your clients. Now, there are some other things I want you to look at outside of those questions, right? I want you to look at your workload. If you do a lot of one-on-one or small groups, are you feeling overwhelmed with the amount of work that you have? Right? So this is just a purely logical supply and demand question. If you have, and I'm not saying this is the only reason or it's a reason that you do or you do not, but think of it this way. If there's only one of you, one beautiful, unique essence, that is you, right? So you want to make sure that you don't burn out, right? I don't want to see you in overwhelm. So if you're doing so much where you feel overwhelmed, where you feel overworked, that is definitely a time where you need to look at raising your prices so that you decrease the demand but still bring in the same or more in income. Okay? So that's another way to look at this. It's just purely workload, purely that logical piece. Now, another thing I want you to look at as you're pondering raising your prices, depending on where you're raising them, you might need to do some work in positioning. Have you positioned yourself to command the price that you want to charge? So think about that, right? I could go to Target and buy a t-shirt, right? And when I go in there, I expect to pay maybe 10 to 15 bucks, maybe 20 for a t-shirt, somewhere in that range. And then I could go into Saks Fifth Avenue and buy a t-shirt. Probably not going to find one in that price range. And so you could say to yourself, well, there's a quality difference. Well, there may or may not be a quality difference from what I can get at Target for a t-shirt to what I can get at Saks for a t-shirt. However, there's definitely a positioning difference. And so I really want you to pay attention to that. If you're charging high-end prices, how are you positioning yourself to command those high-end fees, right? What kind of things are you going to do differently for your clients versus if you're doing something more on the low-end side where it's just mass market, right? Everyone's coming and they're kind of more price-driven, right? Instead of maybe clients who are paying at those higher fees are more experience-driven. So just make sure that you're positioning yourself well for what you want to charge. Now, with that said, we're about to go into how to raise your prices. We have to do all of that to get right here. But before we do, I just want to say a lot of times when I'm working with clients, they want to raise their price. Some of their fears, some of their limiting beliefs come up. And while I'm not going through those in this video because it would be even longer, I do have something for you. You can grab my 5 fears that are blocking your business success. It's a PDF. You can download it right away, read through it, go through, find that fear that's blocking you at this moment, and then look at how you're going to overcome it. I give you some concrete ways in that PDF to overcome each of those 5 major fears that I've seen in myself and in my clients through all of these years of coaching. So definitely download that, check it out. I think it's going to serve you really well as you're moving forward to raise your prices. Now, also, if you're enjoying this video and you're excited about how to raise your prices, give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications because this part of the Spiritual Growth Hacking series is just growing. I'm really excited. We've got another video coming up in the series that's all about your spiritual business evolving with you, right? You don't need to stay stagnant. It can evolve just as you do. So let's jump back over to the last time, which is all about how to raise your prices. Okay, so I want to talk about just raising your prices in general first, and then we'll get to those other little things about raising your prices that seem to come up. All right, so how to raise your prices. You just begin, right? But how do you get the new price, Africa, right? That's what you really, really want to know. And I really say to rely on your intuition. Now, I know I said raising prices, but But this might actually give you a lower price. And I know that sounds kind of odd, like, but I want to raise my prices, right? It's your intuition knows what you need to do. So your pricing, and I used to be one of those people who always wanted my pricing to make sense. Like if I am working with someone this period of time and this is a bigger chunk of time, and this is an even bigger chunk of time, the price should go up, and it should go up in this maybe percentage type way, right? I wanted everything to make sense. And I've learned over time, my pricing doesn't need to make sense, right? It doesn't need to make sense. I need to do with my pricing what I'm led to do. But let me show you what I do when I start to figure out what my price should be for a service or a program or a DIY course or whatever it may be. Again, I lean into my intuition, which means I'm going to put my hand on my heart. So I pull my consciousness out of my head, right? That part of me that wants to be very analytical, very logical, and think through it that way. And I bring it down to my heart, right? And I'm going to breathe in. And when I'm breathing, and I'll do this a few times, I will focus on my heart. And when I know that I'm totally settled there, then I will ask the question, what would be the highest and best service to my clients and to myself as an investment for this program, service, offering, etc. Right? And once I know that, once I have that amount, and usually, and I'll be very honest, I've already mapped out whatever it is, so I know everything that's going into that. And so that's interplaying as I'm asking this question. I'll get an answer. And I used to get angry sometimes about that answer. I used to be like, oh, can I really charge that? About the answer, like all over the place, right? And now I've learned that's just the answer. There's nothing any more, any less about it. I just need to use that number and move on, right? I don't need to let my mind get all crazy about it. So I hope that really serves you. Now, moving on to the other thing that probably has popped up. If you already have a program, product, service, offering, and you're raising the price on it, what about your old clients, right? You know, maybe it's time for them to renew their time with you, or maybe it's time for them to buy another whatever it is that you're selling, and now the price is higher. So to me, you have a couple of options here. You can let them know that you're going to be raising their price, and they can opt to purchase right now at the old price, all right? Whatever number of widgets, programs, treatments, whatever it is that you're doing, right? Or once it comes time for them to renew, you can let them renew at the old price. Probably what I would really rather you do is have them renew at a price that's a little higher than the old price, maybe halfway in between the old and the new price. Or you could just have them renew at whatever your new price is. You know, we are not asked permission by our insurance companies or the electric company when they raise the rates. They don't say, you know what, you've been a customer with us a long time. Would you like this grandfathered rate? Or you've been a customer with us a long time. Would you like this reduced rate that is it for other people? No, they don't do that. They're just like, this is the new rate. So you can look at it that way too. All right, so I hope that this has served you. Please let me know in the comments if you have any questions whatsoever about raising your prices. And with that, I say peace, joy, love to you.